California Governor Gavin Newsom marked Labor Day by signing a bill that could raise the minimum wage for fast food workers in California to $22 an hour. The measure creates a fast food council that will set standards for wages, hours, and working conditions. It will include workers' delegates. The council will have the power to raise the minimum to $22 an hour, and that's compared to the state minimum of $15.50 an hour right now for chains with more than 100 restaurants. The fast food industry says that will mean higher menu prices.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about California Governor Gavin Newsom signing a new measure into law that could, keyword could, increase the minimum wage for fast food workers. I'm not really sure about minimum wage in the whole state, but definitely for fast food workers, up to $22 an hour by next year. Now, whatever happened to Fight for 15? I remember that back in the day, back about 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. Fight for 15 because the federal minimum wage is $7.25. Oh, we can't live with $7.25 an hour. You can't raise a family on that. You can't take kids to college on that. So let's double it to $15 an hour. Okay, now that that's happened because of inflation and labor shortages, and we realize that as wages increase, so shall the cost of living. Let's raise it to $22 an hour. Now, there's a lot I want to say about this. I am totally against raising the minimum wage as far as any kind of government legislation. If you or a company or whoever wants to raise their wages, then that's one thing. But when the federales get involved or when the state gets involved, that's different. Before we go any further, let's watch this clip together. If you want to see this in full without my commentary, the link, as always, will be in the description. But you see the caption, breaking: California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed AB 257, the Fast Recovery Act. California will soon have a fast food council. Yes, a fast food council that will include workers and our advocates, like union reps, I suppose. They want to unionize fast food workers, who will sit down with governor, reps, and business to set standards for over 550,000 California workers. Let's check it out.
Well, happy Labor Day, everybody. And I think one of the things that makes California a special place, by definition, is we're the 5th largest economy in the world. But that didn't happen by chance. We've long had a formula for success around growth and inclusion. So many states.
Let's just talk about this. You know, they are a large economy, but they're also a large state. What, it's like 50 million people in the state of California. So, I mean, let's just keep that into perspective. I think Germany is like, 68 million, or maybe somewhere right around that. Same thing for UK, probably less than that. So you're comparing California to entire countries, and California is part of the good old US of A, the best country on planet Earth. Let's continue.
So many states forget the latter part of that formula. But I'm really proud of California, and I'm proud of the men and women of organized labor, particularly on Labor Day, for their extraordinary work over the course of decades to empower workers, to give them voice and choice, and to fight not just for wages, but better working conditions. At the same time, we got work to do. At the same time, we recognize there are sectors of our economy where we're falling a bit short. And one of those areas is fast food workers. And I want to thank Assemblymember Holden in particular for AB 257 and all of his hard work, a bill that empowers our workers, particularly in that sector, giving them more voice, giving them more choice, creating a new council. And I'm proud on Labor Day to sign that bill and to shrine it in law.
So there you have it. Gavin Newsom signs AB 257 into law, which has a potential, because basically this whole fast food council right here, you see that on the screen, the fast food council, they're going to sit down and advocate for these higher wages. But in the law, from what I read, the wage is going to be capped at $22 an hour next year. Now, could that rise? I suppose, but it's going to be capped at 22. So that's the objective, to get it raised to $22 an hour. Now, here's the reason why I'm against it. Am I an elitist? Am I some kind of evil capitalist that hates poor people? Do I hate brown people? Do I hate women of color? Do I hate all these different little groups? No, I don't. I'm not about hatred. I'm all about spreading love. That's what I do. But I'm also about telling the truth. And what I know is that when you raise wages artificially, you're going to have negative consequences. We've seen that over the past couple of years with the whole scamdemic and the inflation. You see all the money printing has unintended consequences, but things that you could predict. When you print so much money, I think they said they printed 80% of all dollars in the last 2 years. That's going to cause an unnatural demand for things. So there's a really high demand for things, a really high demand for labor, but the demand is artificial because there's not anything behind that producing it. So there will be a labor shortage because in reality, there's not enough people to fulfill all these jobs that this fake money creates. And also with the stimulus checks, you've decreased the human desire to work. So not only is there not enough people to fill all these positions, there's not enough of a spirit to go out there and work to fill these roles. And when you increase the minimum wage to $22 an hour, you're going to have similar results. What's going to happen is a lot of the fast food places they got to make choices, and they may do a few things. The first thing is that they're going to either raise the cost of goods and services, or they're going to cut payroll, meaning cut people. They're going to fire people because they can't afford to pay all those people. Let's say right now a fast food restaurant has 15 people. I'm just using a random number. I'm not really sure how a restaurant is staffed, how many people they have. But let's just say a fast food restaurant has 15 people on staff, part-time, full-time, whatever, doesn't really matter. But then their wages are like $15 an hour. That could be set by the government in California, or that could be voluntary from the business itself, because we're dealing with a staff shortage. You got to be able to attract more people, so you got to raise the wages. Yes, you're going to raise costs to compensate, but you still raise the wages to get people to come into the door, because either you raise the wages and also raise the pay, or you just go out of business. But anyway, I digress. So they're going to have to cut people to be able to pay that $22 an hour, or they'll just further raise the cost of goods and services. We've seen things go up over the past 2 years. Now, what I always get from these pro minimum wage people is, well, ABL, inflation always happen. Things always go up in price. Yes, that's true, but to what extent? You're talking about less than 1% inflation year to year versus a 10% inflation, which is going on right now. And that's the baseline. In certain sectors of the economy, you're talking about 20%, 30%, 100%, 200%. Look at gas right now. Look at food right now. Look at everything. Look at housing right now. Everything is way up, and it's not within a normal level of inflation. We are in an abnormal situation right now. So when you sign things like minimum wage up to $22 an hour, what's going to happen? You're going to have much more inflation. And also, here's something else. Another, I guess you would say, unintended consequence. When the wages are raised so high, you're going to attract much better workers, much more experienced workers. So, like when I was probably about 25, 26, I would have gone and flipped burgers for, let's say the wage goes like $30 an hour. If the minimum wage creeps up to $30 an hour, yeah, I'll flip burgers for that. Why not? Because going back to what I said earlier, there are more jobs than just a burger flipper or a fast food worker in general. You got nurses, EMTs, mechanics, car repair. You got welders, you got electricians, plumbers, HVAC, roofing, construction. I'm just naming random jobs, but there's a plethora of jobs that exist that pay less than the 22 an hour, that pay less than the 15 an hour. So at a certain point, everyone should be eligible to get that same kind of raise, right? And if they're not, then I make a choice. I could be EMT for, let's say, 20 an hour or whatever it is, or I could flip burgers for 30 an hour. Which one would you pick? If you're a young person, you're just trying to get some money, you're not thinking about long-term career, longevity, you want cash right now, what would you do? So you're going to have a lot of skilled positions that have fewer people in them, and non-skilled positions with people that are skilled in them. You go to college for 4 years and come home, you have no problem being a Starbucks barista because you're getting paid $30 an hour. You see what I mean? So it kind of kills the drive for many people to go out there and do more, to seek more skills, to get better jobs, and to find better employment. Like buddy that flipped burgers for like 27 years, and then it was a whole big thing on social media. He got to GoFundMe. I'm not saying it's bad to have a job for that long, but it's like, okay, at a certain point, you're working in burgers and fries for 27 years and you're not made it to manager yet, you might want to be a little bit more ambitious. But when you don't have things that incentivize ambition, as I close, when you don't incentivize ambition, you typically get less of it. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about this new bill that has become law signed off by Gavin Newsom, raising the minimum wage to $22 an hour? Potentially, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is not a good idea. It's artificial. It's government intrusion. And you're going to have a lot of things that happen as a result that you don't want. You're going to make things worse for the labor market overall because you want to appease one particular person or do a thing that looks good for some people on a political point of view. I don't like it. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.